Hey, this is Toby Lavigne with more guidance for God's game of life. Learn the good news, find your position, win your freedom.
Hey everyone, Toby here from God's Game. This episode, we're going to talk about facing the truth, right? We all set out in life to get what I say are a set of experiences, feelings. We call it success, but at the end of the day, nothing that we can acquire or attain or accomplish really has much lasting value. It's the feelings that we have about who we are, where we are, how do I feel today, and how do I feel about the future? Do I feel a connection to other people? Do I feel satisfied with what I do? Do I feel like what I do has meaning? I kind of put that whole bundle into love, right? That to me is a pretty good definition of love, having all of that inside your heart. All right, we all want that. I don't imagine there's anyone who would disagree with that. So, great, we want that. But then life happens, right? We run into fear, we run into rejection, we run into obstacles, self-doubt. Along the way, we also carry with us these tapes about what we learned and experienced from a young age and all the way through, the good people and the bad people, the whole bit, right? It's all inside of us. And what happens is we develop habits for dealing with those things, okay? So I want to talk about habits. And so for those of you listening, I'm going to do a little bit of drawing here, and I'll try to describe it to you as I go. But there's a thing about habits. They kind of exist within a range of high and low. So you could kind of picture this ladder of levels, okay? And within the spaces of the ladders, I'm drawing a circle. I call that the habit circle. So let's just say that in some given aspect of my life, I'm at level 5. I'm just picking that sort of arbitrarily. That's just my ability level. There's people that are a 6 and 7 and 8, and there was a time when I was at 4, 3, and 2, right? But I've moved up to level 5, and right now I'm solidly in level 5. And on my best day, my performance is up at sort of that top part of the circle. And on my worst days, it's at the bottom part of the circle, right? Now, the good thing about habits is I own level 5. I'm a level 5 player in that space. That's where my habits have gotten me, okay? And that's a good thing. My habits keep me from going any lower, but they also keep me from going any higher. I don't fall back into level 4, but I also don't get access to level 6, okay? Another way to think about this visually is you could draw it kind of horizontally. I'm drawing some vertical lines with spaces in between them. And inside the vertical line, I'm going to draw the bell curve. That's my typical performance. On average, I'm average for level 5, right? But sometimes I'm way out. I have that 1% kind of Toby day where I'm really at the top of my game. I'm at the top of level 5. And sometimes I'm way down at the other 1% where, I'm at the bottom level of level 5 and kind of peeking over into level 4, right? So you can kind of picture a series of these, right? And what we want to do is move to higher and higher levels, right? What makes life interesting is we have these obstacles where we run into these habits. And the challenge is to grow as a person such that I can leave level 5 and go to level 6 and 7 and beyond. And when I look back on my life, and I'm not talking just like in some sort of like sport or hobby activity. I'm talking about the really important stuff, right? How I relate with my children and my wife and my coworkers and other people that I seek to serve. That's what matters the most, right? Can I grow in that way? Can I get to the point where I'm less selfish, I'm less stressed and concerned and worried about me, and more able, I have more energy to give and to serve to others? That's the goal. And that's where pride comes from. That's where we feel like, wow, I feel really good about how I've evolved in that way. But what we need to understand, going back to the truth, is that the truth is We're in some range of performance. Like I said for myself, I'm just arbitrarily saying I'm at level 5. You could say that about your marriage. You could say it about your academic ability. You could say it about your work at work, anything. And I want to move to level 6. The truth is, there is this physics of habit. The habits that got us to where we are literally constrain us from going further. And if I can't tap into something that's bigger than me, I'm going to be afraid to try anything new. Because guess what? When I try to go and break this habit from 5 and adopt some new habits so that I can have a chance at 6, my first tries aren't going to necessarily work. In fact, most likely they'll fail. Most likely I'm going to end up at the bottom of 5, right? And I'm going to have to pick myself up, dust myself off, and try another thing and another thing. But eventually you'll break through to the next side. I mean, you did it. You went from 1 to 2, the 3 to 4, and then ultimately got to 5, or at least in the scenario we have, right? But you've done that with things. But what you'll notice is that you've probably been stuck for quite some time making the same excuses, falling back into the same patterns and habits. It's natural. I'm not beating you up or judging you. I do the same thing. But my desire to serve others, to honor God, is way bigger than my fear about making a fool of myself. Otherwise, I wouldn't be standing here in front of this camera, because I make a fool of myself frequently this way. But I want to get a message out, right? And I try to do this in other aspects of my life, and I'm encouraging you to do the same thing. Regardless of what you do professionally, there is a way for you to serve. But first, if we want to get to higher levels, we have to face the truth about the physics of habits and who we are, and we have to tap into a bigger why, because the why is that long lever that will enable us to move that heavy rock of resistance that we all feel when it comes to breaking a habit.
God designed this great game of life for everyone to win. It's supposed to work. The reason it doesn't work a lot of times is because we violate the physics that He installed into this whole system. So one of the things that we know of as believers is that God created each one of us unique, created us to come here and serve one another from some specific purpose. Which begs the big question, doesn't it? What's my purpose? How do I find that purpose? Well, I spent decades trying to answer that question for myself. And in my search, I discovered this 4-step cycle and sequence of prosperity. And as it turns out, there are 4 positions in this game that are vital for society to work. And the even more good news is that you were born hardwired to excel at one of these 4 positions. All right? Now, when I discovered my position, it led to a series of huge breakthroughs in every aspect of my life. And I'm excited for you to have that same epiphany. All right? So, to help you do that, I created a series of free videos that you can find here at fourcross.us. So, look, don't let any more of that precious life slip by. Go to fourcross.us, watch the videos, learn your position, find it, and win your freedom.